What's going on, everybody out there? This is Mr. M2 coming at you again with another boxing prediction on the fight between Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito. I mean, what else can we say about this one? You know, Mexico versus Puerto Rico. I mean, real fight fans out there know what the deal is on this. I mean, this goes way back, and some great fights between these two countries. I mean, you go on and on, like Chavez versus Camacho, Gomez versus Pintor, which was declared fight of the 80s by Ring Magazine, Benitez versus Palomino. Man, just so many. Trinidad versus Vargas have late. That was a war. The Trinidad versus De La Hoya was, I mean, there was a lot of hype. A lot of people watched it. I know I was watching it, and streets were just empty that day. I remember that. And didn't really live up to all the hype, but you know, it is what it is there. Even some recently as like Juan Manuel Lopez versus Rafael Marquez. That was a good fight. Even Juan Ma's last fight where he lost against Orlando Salido was a good fight too. And my personal favorite out of all of those was, if you haven't seen it, I suggest you go back and watch it. It was a good fight between Wilfredo Gomez and Salvador Sanchez. It was a great fight. They called it the Battle of the Little Giants. And I believe it was 1980 or 1981 when that took place. But what a fight! Two great fighters in there, just going at it. And then of course we have this one here, the Cotto versus Margarito. The first one could be in that too, you know, because that was a great fight as well. So let's get on to the fight at hand here, which is the Cotto versus Margarito Part 2. And it's going to be in New York City, you know, Madison Square Garden. And this time they say it's going to be in Cotto's backyard. First time was in Las Vegas. This time will be in New York. A lot of Puerto Ricans will be there, support their guy Cotto. So should be a good fight. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be an action-packed fight. So let's go over a few things here in the fighters. Miguel Cotto is 36-2 with 29 knockouts. He's got a pretty high knockout ratio. Margarito, 38-7 with 28 KOs. And this fight will be at another catch weight. Yeah, catch weight again. 153 pounds. So let's go over the recap of the first fight. It was a great fight, like I already said in the opening. Really blood and guts out there in that one. It was Cotto coming out early, showing some good boxing skills, moving around the ring, throwing counter punches at Margarito, just really controlling the fight. The first half, I say the first 5 rounds of that fight, Cotto was just looking like he was going to cruise on to an easy decision, but as we all know what took place, Margarito kept coming forward, kept putting that pressure, kept throwing punches and bunches at him all night long, and eventually broke the guy down and stopped him in the 11th round. I'd say probably around round 7. I'd say between rounds 5 and 7 is when I started to notice Cotto was just slowing down just a little bit. I remember looking at a few of my friends who had picked Cotto to win the fight. I had picked Margarito to win the first fight. And they were like, "Oh man, you know, Margarito's not looking too good. You know, he's getting hit, and he's getting counter punched and things like that." And I was like, "Yeah, he's losing, but I see him walking through that. I see him coming on strong, and I could kind of see Cotto slowing down. Like, oh no way, man, you're crazy. I don't see that." And I'm like, well, I got lucky, I guess, and eventually he ended up breaking the guy down, and he stopped him in the 11th round. So there's a lot of questions in this fight. As far as the first one goes, I don't know if any of you have watched the face-off with Max Kellerman, but I've watched it. I usually don't like to watch the face-offs and the 24/7s because it's just a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype. They want to get people to buy the fights. Whatever. It is what it is. But I watched this one because a good buddy of mine, Mr. Pound for Pound, who's got his own channel on YouTube, go check him out. Shots going out to my man. Told me, he goes, "Man, you gotta watch this one. It's pretty good. It's pretty intense." So I said, "All right." I checked it out, and Miguel Cotto and Antonio Margarito got into a little heated discussion about the whole loaded glove situation. And Cotto brought out pictures of, Margarito's gloves, or not his gloves, but his wraps after the first fight. And he goes, you can see there's a crack in there, and, things like that. They got really mad. Margarito saying, that's nothing, I beat you fair and square, and I'm going to beat you fair and square again. And just basically going back and forth. Good drama, good entertainment. But you could obviously tell these two guys don't like each other at all, which I think is going to make for a good fight. So I'm just going to go straight into my prediction here. And this time I'm going to take Miguel Cotto to win this fight. And I'll get into those reasons why I'm going to choose him to win the fight this time. But I want to touch on a few things for Margarito really quick. Is not only does he have questions to answer with the loaded glove situation, because obviously we're going to know, they're going to have somebody in there while he's getting his gloves wrapped this time. So he'll be going in there with regular, gauze, regular tape, whatever it is they put on the fighter's hands before the fight. And another question for him is the eye situation that he suffered in the brutal fight against Pacquiao, where he broke the orbital bone in his eye. We'll see how that holds up. They say that it's good to go. He's been tested a few times, and they say, hey, you can give him a license. Let's get it on, But obviously, that's a big question. There is that eye going to be a factor in the fight, and also the chin of Margarito. We all know he has a solid chin, and I'm not going to sit here and say that it's all of a sudden he can't take a punch, because he took a lot of clean shots from Pacquiao off a year-long suspension that he had before that fight. And he took a lot of clean shots and just kept coming forward, even with the broken eye or orbital bone. And I still think that the chin is still good. And here's a few questions for Cotto. Is Margarito in his head? I think that Margarito might have an edge in that category, because I still think that Cotto's got some demons inside that like from the first fight, the fact that he was able to land so many clean and crisp shots on Antonio Margarito, and those are the type of shots that fighters in the past would have just went to sleep on. A lot of those shots that he was landing on Margarito, and he just kept coming, and I think that that's going to really play a big factor in this fight as well. But a few things for Cotto that I think he could definitely do better in this fight than he did the first fight was, even though he did land a lot of clean shots, I didn't really see him use a good strong jab. He was flicking it. He was flicking Margarito a lot with it, and he was catching him with it. But I want to see him throw a good stiff jab at him tonight, not only to the head but also to the body as well. Mix it up top and then down low to the body with the jab. A good stiff one. Kind of like the way De La Hoya used to throw his. I used to love the way that De La Hoya would throw his jab. He had a really good left jab. I think that would be a good key to winning this fight for for Cotto. And also, I didn't see him go to the body much in that first fight. I really think that, like I stated earlier, Margarito's got just a granite chin. He could take some heavy shots, and he took some good shots from a lot of good punchers. And I really think that where you can slow the guy down as far as him applying that pressure all night is to the body. I didn't see Cotto go to the body enough in that first fight. I really think that if he did go to the body, the way he was landing up top, if he mixed it up a little bit better, he might have ended up stopping Margarito. You never know. But, we'll see if he does that this time. I'm looking forward to see if he can make those adjustments and win this fight. And plus, I think Cotto's got some revenge on his mind, too. He really wants to get back at Margarito to show people that, yeah, he beat me the first time. It was pretty bad. I was beat up, and I was looking all swollen, bleeding all over the place, and it was a really ugly loss for him. And I really think that he wants to get some revenge on this guy. And there's obviously some hate there. You can tell that there's a lot of hate between these two guys. So I'm thinking Cotto's really looking for some revenge. One thing that I really don't like for Cotto is the fact that he's got another trainer, a new trainer. He got rid of Emmanuel Stewart, which I think was a good move for him. But he ended up going with somebody named Diaz from I think he was the coach of the Cuba national team. And he's switching trainers again. I know he's got a history of switching trainers in the past recent years, but I don't really like that. I'm not really a big fan of that, but I still think he's gonna win anyway. I think that they know that he's got to be in some tip-top shape. They're working on conditioning, from what I hear, a lot of conditioning, and he's gonna need that in this fight to win, because we all know that Antonio Margarito comes in tip-top shape, and he's ready to throw over 1,000 punches each fight. They might not hit you all clean, but he'll hit you on the side of the head and on the elbows, on the shoulders, on the hips, all over the place. He's just looking to land whatever, and just to break you down, just to slow you down as the fight goes on and on and on. So Cotto's going to have to be in some really good condition to win this fight. So I am picking him to win by, I want to say, probably a unanimous decision. If he does mix it up to the body like I think he should, you never know. He could knock Margarito down a few times, maybe even stop him. You never know. I do think that he's a little bit softer in the body than he is to the chin. So we'll see. But, Margarito, he's going to be the same guy. Come forward, apply that pressure, looking to mix it up. He's gonna want a war. He wants that war. And there's times where Cotto can be, he can get into wars. He's got a history of that, not sticking to the game plan sometimes and just stopping and, wanting to brawl with this guy. And I think that that's really the wrong thing to do for him here. I think if he wants to go on and win in good fashion, he stick to the game plan, box, stick that jab out there, go to the body, counter him when he throws those little wild hooks. Like Margarito, sometimes he throws little wide hooks and uppercuts. He's not fast, so he's there to be countered. So I really think that Cotto can put those things together and win this fight. And I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a bloodbath, I think, again, like the first one. And, like I said earlier, Mexico versus Puerto Rico. We all know what that's about, and it's going to be a good one. And just another chapter in Mexico versus Puerto Rico. Last night we saw Saul Alvarez, Canelo, stop Kermit Cintron in I believe it was the 5th round. Not a big fight, but hey, it's Mexico versus Puerto Rico again. Just had to throw that in there. So there it is. It's my prediction for Mr. M2, taking Cotto by unanimous decision to win this time. So let me know what you guys think. Rate my video, give me comments if you like the videos I put out there. Subscribe or whatever you like. This is Mr. M2 signing off again.